Everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online, favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. We are back. You already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me and at BD Williams 18 for BD. So it is a free agency bonanza.
Yep.
We're talking free agents. It's not that in depth of bonanza. I feel like BD's side would probably be more exciting than mine. But we're gonna go over some free agents this week. Talk a little free agency, what the Raiders might do, and what way they might go. Of course, the big one is quarterback. We did a free agency quarterback show. You go back and watch it. It's just the same guys are in line.
Yeah, right.
So go watch that. We already did a free agency one. Go ahead and check that out with all the free agency quarterbacks. We were super in depth on that one. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett, Sam Darnold, and of course I did Tom Brady, but that was, there's three guys are still, 3 out of 4 are still out there. So you have a chance to go check that out. But today we're going to go over the other positions because there are other positions in the NFL besides quarterback. So we're going to check out. I'm doing a wide receiver and 2 offensive linemen. BD, what are you doing for us?
So yeah, I mean, this was there was a lot that went into this one. Really, it came down to me getting like 1.5 games through, like a linebacker or a defensive lineman, and being like, wow, I can't take anything out of this film to try to convince Raider Nation that this would be a good free agent pick. So like abandoning these guys, 2 games through, and I'm just like wasting so much time, trying to figure this one out. But I came through in the clutch. I got a couple guys up here. David Onymeta from the Saints, defensive tackle. I also I will take a look at Jimmy Ward, slot corner from San Francisco, one of my favorite players, and I've never broken him down on the channel before. And then also we talked about this before the show. Basically, the entire Philadelphia Eagles secondary seems like they're up on the free agency block, so we don't know who's going. I've already talked to you guys about James Bradbury from before when he was with the Giants. He ended up going to the Eagles on a 1-year deal. So his name is up. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, his name is also up in terms of like the discussion to be a free agent. So we, at the tail end of this breakdown, I got some Philadelphia Eagles secondary film and I'll just talk over that. So yeah, that's all I'll be looking at.
All right. So a couple of things we could talk about first. Brandon Parker got re-signed. That was one of the news items of the week. Brandon Parker, right tackle, didn't play a down last year. His only game was in preseason where he got hurt during that game, had to get surgery, was out for the season. If you ask Albert Breer, that crushed the whole offensive line. The offensive line never recovered from Brandon Parker missing the season, according to Albert Breer. So, BD, they're bringing him back. I think he's coming back as a swing tackle. I hope he's coming back as a swing tackle. I think that's a good position he could fit, the backup swing guy. If Colt Miller ever goes down, he could play left, right? If whoever the starting right tackle they believe goes down, he can play right, as long as he's not starting. That's kind of my thing with him. If they actually plan to start him, I got an issue with that because he's just not a starter. I don't know how many years he has to play in the league. Trayvon Walker baptized him like the first preseason game. Like it was, everybody thought Trayvon Walker was going to get 20 sacks. So, I don't get it, but maybe he's a grinder, right? He shows the film room on time, and they like him. So, BD, thoughts, Brandon Parker?
Okay, it's the only thoughts I've ever had on Brandon Parker. Okay, the man is 6'8", 320 pounds. They don't grow on trees. Men as big as a house. Okay, so as long as you're 6'8", 320 pounds, and you can pass a physical, you're going to be on an NFL team. Okay, trust me.
Yep, 35 inch arms, man.
Like there you go. So Yeah, I mean, this is just what it comes down to, and you'll learn this as you watch more football, and you get like you'll slowly come to the realization that bigger is better in the NFL. If you're 6'8", 300 pounds, they'll give you 5 chances. Okay,
Yeah.
and an undersized tackle, it'd be like get a speeding ticket, you're cut from this team. Okay, so
Yep. 35-inch arms, man. I mean, he is impressive in person. He's very impressive.
I bet, yeah,
Very impressive to see. You're like, whoa, that's a big human.
right.
Man, it's like O-line coach, man. I could work
Every
with
O line, every O line coach ever said I could work with that.
man. If I could just fix his feet a little bit, get his hands better.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You'll get a lot of shots in the NFL when you show up. Even the previous regime, like Josh McDaniels damn near cut the entire roster except Brandon Parker. Okay, at this point.
That's what I think, man. This is a second re-up with the team, man. This is a second re-up.
Right.
We're on third contract here.
Right.
With Brandon Parker. That's why it's getting weird. We're on third contract. Do you think Brandon Parker was going to make the third contract, man, after his first season? Did you think he was going to have 3 contracts with the Raiders?
The writing was definitely on the wall after that first season. Fans hated him from jump.
Oh,
but let's keep it real though. Okay, this is what, and we're gonna see another guy, Kelvin Beachum. You're gonna show a little Kelvin Beachum breakdown, right? And this is the benefit of being able to play a sport for 10 years at the professional level, and Brandon Parker being able to maybe get into like now the later portion of his career with a bunch of starts under his belt or a bunch of practice time and everything like that. 5 years being in the NFL, whatever it is for him, right? This is probably going to be the time where we're going to see the best football out of Brandon Parker, to be honest with you, because that's how much work he needed coming from a smaller school, and he was really just a great athlete at that smaller school. So, but we'll see if it turns out for like that, and that's the Brandon Parker story, is that he all of a sudden becomes like a surefire starter and NFL tackle. But I agree with you, being a swing tackle, definitely like that's the best at this stage in his career.
Yeah, him being a swing tackle, I think is a good idea. Transition that to Andre James, who is making $6 million. I just want to talk about this because I was actually going to do Garrett Bradbury from the Vikings. Like, man, that's a good fit. That kind of center coming in and making that happen, right? And then so I went and looked at Andre James's number, his cap number, and I was like, $6 million. I was like, wow, that's a lot. They haven't cut him.
And you can't pay 2 centers over $6 million each. So whatever, right? Like, you're not going to get another center for $7-8 million when your other one is 6. Correct me if I'm wrong. Why would you spend all that much money on
exactly? So it comes back to, does he get cut, right? Or do they keep playing him? Because my thing was Andre James. It's like he's not a bad like individually. It's just they haven't picked up a stunt or a blitz in 2 years, and I feel like that has a little bit to do with the center. That's all I got to say about that. So it's interesting that he's getting this. If they pay him $6 million, I think that's just a little crazy, in my opinion. So that's what I'm saying. We're bringing back Brandon Parker. We're keeping Andre James. Like, this is like Tom Cable's like, see, I told you guys. This is Tom Cable's retribution here.
Right.
Tom Cable's like, I was right the whole time. You guys were wrong. Even guys from the Patriots come over and they think so too. So Colt Miller's good. Brandon Parker's good. Andre James is good. All my projects are here. This is probably retribution for him. He probably feels like this is watching this, but it's just crazy to me how he's about to get that much money. He's getting paid $6 million. I don't know if they restructure it or something. They figure that out. They haven't yet. They restructured Max Crosby before they did Andre James. So Andre James tell him no. They told him no. Why didn't you cut him? Like, he's, you know what I mean? Like,
right. I think that is interesting when you bring that up. The cap number for Andre James, and maybe that's just us being a little late to the party, like understanding how much more these centers are getting paid right now. But I agree. I mean, but if you're telling me that your evaluation on him isn't like starting center caliber, then yeah. So I think getting paid that much money is definitely a question mark. It would seem like he's a candidate for being replaced. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, backup center, like reserve center. I mean, I don't have a problem having Andre James on my team as a reserve center, but just not the starter, and just not at a $7 million cap hit. His cap hit is $6,980,000.
that's $7 million.
So he's 7 million. 7 million cap hit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I saw that report from, I think it was Jeremy Fowler. He's talking about the centers getting paid, right? And the top centers available are getting paid 8 to 11 million. So Andre James is going to get paid 7 million.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That means he's not a top center, but he's one echelon down, right?
Yeah, they feel like that he is a starting center in the NFL if they're going to pay him that amount. So it's just an interesting thought process of their evaluation. I mean, some people, they just didn't pick up any studs that are blitzes, and it's been 2 years in a row. That's my main issue with him. But I don't make these decisions. That's all I gotta say about that. All right, BD. Let's transition to let's do defense first. Defensive free agency, I think, is more exciting right now. The offense is kind of set, especially since we're bringing back Brandon Parker and Andre James. Maybe they re-sign Alex Bars at this point. So just bring the gang back.
Alex Bars. Oh,
run it back.
That's a great transition. We did not plan this, TDL audience. We did not plan this. Alex Bars, you say? Okay, first things first. I just wanted to add these in here to kind of give an idea of Onymeta, his ability as a pass rusher. We're going to look at David Onymeta, 3 technique. I think that he fits the scheme. You see him here going up against Alex Bars, kind of tossing him around, getting some pressure on the quarterback right there. I think he fits the scheme of what Patrick Graham wants in a defensive tackle, a guy who can 2-gap, but it can also get some penetration rushing the passer. I think he's at his best, definitely trying to get that penetration. Onymeta, he does some good things as far as a pass rusher. When his initial combination doesn't quite work, he's going to be a guy who keeps on hustling to get after the quarterback. You see him here chase down Lamar Jackson as well. But really, when he has a great rep, you're going to just see him put it all together. He's going to, right here, go from the bull to the chop to detach and get that sack. Here's another beautiful rep here from Onymeta going up against number 69 here. Goes in and out, Euro step, arm over, chases that quarterback down. So these are just kind of things that we're seeing from him. One thing I will say, some cons for Onymeta is when he's taking on double teams, we see him here going up against Parham and Colton Miller. And you see those guys just getting up underneath his pads, just walking him right back into the lap of the defensive backs who are back there. And I don't think that that's necessarily his strength. I don't think that, goal line situation, he gets double teams. He's going to give up a lot of space. Like you just see him right there, And he's an athletic guy. I mean, he's like doing the splits right here, literally. He's got and he just, I was like, oh, did he get hurt? And he just hops up and walks it off. So he's like extremely athletic, like flexible guy at 6'4", however many pounds, 300 pounds. But not a guy who's anchoring necessarily going to take on these double teams. Probably, your third defensive tackle, your guy who maybe can get in at multiple positions and then also rush the passer. That's kind of where I'd put him on Onymeta. But he can get some pressure. All right, so my next guy up is Jimmy Ward, defensive back. Really, he played nickel primarily. for San Francisco. You see him here coming across in motion and putting the straps on CD Ward or CD Lamb. CD Lamb didn't want none of him. He really was shying away from the competition in this one. You see him here step in front of this pass to CD Lamb, and it goes right into the outstretched arms of Fred Warner. And at the top of the screen, he goes and he's going to break this screen up right here. Beautiful job. I think he gets in to the maybe he slightly touches it or he rakes the catch point or something at the very end here, but he's throwing off that wide receiver's concentration, blows the screen up. In a lot of plays that you'll see Jimmy Ward make, it's a result of what looks to be like educated guesses and just watching, film study. One thing I will shout out about Jimmy Ward's game is his ability to play man coverage is probably his best trait. You see him here. They're gonna, get a little stack in the slot here, and Chris Godwin's gonna motion into a bunch, and you see how calm and patient Ward's feet are. We got all these switch releases. He just picks up his guy, puts his foot in the ground, breaks up this pass. He can really put the straps on as far as taking guys out of the passing play. Here he is at the bottom of the screen, in the slot at the bottom of the screen. And, you just see him here play his leverage point and prevent that receiver from getting back to where Geno Smith thought he would be. He's just walling that guy off. He putting the straps on these guys. So he does that quite a bit. So Jimmy Ward came away even more high on Jimmy Ward than I was when honestly from watching the film.
Mm-hmm.
His coverage ability in the slot is really, really good. So then we're getting to the Eagles secondary. There was a lot of these guys, and I went into this film breakdown going to watch Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But, we can watch quite a few of these guys. Omar, I'm sorry, what's the guy? Epps? What's his name?
Yeah,
I'm saying
Marcus
Omar
Epps.
Marcus Epps. There you go. Yeah, Marcus Epps is a name. If he's a free agent, he'd be interesting to watch. Keep your eye on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, obviously. And then we talked about James Bradbury last year on TDL. He's a free agent again this year, so I'm not going to go do another breakdown of him. But you can go back and watch the TDL, James Bradbury breakdowns. And here he is. He's the corner at the bottom of the screen here. So there's a lot of these guys in the Eagles secondary that I think are candidates for, being added. And I don't think that the Eagles will be able to take care of all these guys, keep all these guys. But, certainly any of the guys that I named could go ahead and majorly upgrade a position in the Raiders secondary.
Even number 2 by trade, Darius Slayton, that play he just made by trade since he's available.
Yeah, he's I don't think he's getting out of there.
Yeah, they let him out.
Here's one from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson though. Here's a great job keeping, staying on top of everything. What I think happens here is because he's opening up to the middle of the field, he's baiting that quarterback into throwing that post.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes off of this, but that body positioning, the intentions that he's showing the quarterback, I think it is playing into the quarterback's decision to go ahead and try to rifle this one down the post here, and he comes off of that. He's not really taking the cheese. He's just showing with his body language, okay, yeah, I'm on top of this, but he's ready to come peel off that and get back in the passing window.
Yeah, you're being really nice to Kyler Murray there.
Terrible throw.
I mean, it's a bad read too. I mean, the safety didn't fall back that much. You had to throw it
right
60 yards. All right, yeah. So all right, okay.
So some secondary for sure. When I was going through all these teams, I went through San Francisco. I went through Philadelphia, right? I was watching some, playoff caliber defenses. And then when I was getting to some of these not so playoff caliber defenses, really the biggest difference, in my opinion, wasn't even defensive line. It was the secondary making plays. So when I'm watching these playoff caliber defenses, it was the secondary that was consistently making plays across this. So I do think that, yeah, getting some more pass rush and maybe blitzing linebackers more and getting blitzing linebackers, sure, that's going to help out. But Raiders got to do something about the secondary. I think it's still a little bit in flux. Adding a guy who's, you know, a pro, like been doing this in the NFL for like 5, 6, 7 years. Getting a guy like that, I think, would be beneficial, but we'll see.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I think David Onymeta from the Saints. I think that is very intriguing to me. I think that's somebody that can get some pass rush from inside on this team and still give you the flexibility to draft a defensive tackle that they like in certain positions. So I really like that idea. I mean, you really don't see a lot of people talk about him that much, but definitely a good idea in my opinion of somebody that can come in and actually just get some pass rush year one, man. I think they wanted that from Bilal Nichols, but it just didn't work with him, and it just did not end up how they wanted it to end up. And we saw a couple of instances where he got some pass rush against certain guards or whatever, but it wasn't consistent enough. And I think David Abumeta could get more interior pass rush consistently than he did. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes with defense tackles. But Jimmy Ward, it was him coming and playing the slot. He's historically with what Patrick Graham has a slot position, he fits at 5'10", 190. So that'll be interesting too.
Not only does he fit, but the scheme that he was in, he did everything. So he's going to be able to fit and slot in at any NFL scheme, no question about Jimmy Ward. But going back to Onymeta, he fits the same profile of Adam Butler. I've broken down Adam Butler in the past on the channel. The Raiders went ahead and signed him to a reserve for futures contracts, 6'4", 300, a guy who, he has the long arms. He has the ability, maybe if one-on-one, to play the run, but, against the double teams, that's not his best strong suit. But what we saw when we broke down Adam Butler on the channel, I think it was like 2 years ago now at this point, maybe it was last year. But we saw a guy who can really rush the passer and can get that penetration. So I think when you see someone on the roster who the coaching staff has shown an interest in, and that's like a similar kind of, player or something like that, I think that just paints the picture for you. It kind of helps you out making these guesses when you're going through the free agents and like, who are they going to pick? Because there's like 100 guys, right? So
yeah,
that's just the kind of the way that I came to that one. But yeah, so I mean, but Jimmy Ward, I would be surprised if San Francisco lets him go. But he has been hurt a lot in his career, so that's something that to keep an eye out for Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, I think he hits the market. I doubt San Francisco tries to bring him back, just because I feel like they already would have tried. He already heard something with it, but you never know. I mean, he's gonna have a good market for him. He might be too expensive for the Raiders. That's what I was thinking. Maybe that he might price up. I don't know what his contract is looking like or what it should be, but that is something to kind of monitor too. Is he gonna be too expensive? Because I think the Raiders are gonna be really cheap. That's kind of how I went with my breakdown of guys. I went with some cheap dudes because that's what I think the Raiders are gonna do. I think they're gonna be, they got the cap space. But I don't know if you've seen Paid in Full, Money Making Mitch. He says, "I'm broke, baby." That's what they're doing. They smell like money, but I don't think they're gonna spend the money. So, let me look at these cornerbacks. I'm looking at Jimmy Ward here. Yeah,
Jimmy Ward is gonna be expensive. Jimmy Ward will be expensive. And full disclosure, Raider Nation, I wanted to get some linebackers in here. Let's see, who was I looking at? So I looked at Zach Cunningham because that's a name. No, that's definitely not an option for the Raiders this year. Levante David, I think I agree. That would be awesome if the Raiders got him, but come on. He's 33 years old, and he's going to be $13, $14 million a year probably. So I went away from that. I started looking at maybe like a little younger guys, like a Landon Roberts,
Mm-hmm.
Aziz Al Shair.
Yes.
But didn't the Raiders already have Aziz Al Shair on the roster, and then they cut him a long time
I,
ago?
I don't think so. Did they?
I think that he was one of Gruden's draft picks, but I might be wrong on that. But anyways, I was looking at some of these other younger guys, and you know what? I didn't come away impressed enough to even make a film breakdown for them. So I think just looking at it, like I'm looking at a Landon Roberts, and I'm just like, Devon Diablo should be better than this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So
So
hopefully it's the case.
So Jimmy Ward's projected contract from PFF was they actually do pretty good on this. I'll give him props for this. It's 2 years, $6.75 million.
6.75.
Mm-hmm. It's about a year, $8 million guaranteed. That's not that bad. I mean, you pay the Andre James, I guess.
I mean, and here's the thing: is Jimmy Ward a corner, or is Jimmy Ward a safety?
He's labeled as a safety.
Okay, so he played the entire last year as a nickel corner.
But he's listed as a safety. So how does he? So he gets paid like he's gonna get paid like a 32-year-old safety.
So yes, if he gets paid like a 32-year-old safety, he will get paid $6.75 million. Yes, but if he gets paid like a corner, if he can work that out with the team, yeah, it'll be a lot. It'll be a lot more money. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see because he didn't line up deep hardly ever if they're just trying to do some like weird safety rotation or blitz or something like that.
Kind of just look at this PFF list. Julian Love is. Do you think that's somebody the Raiders?
He's hurt. He's hurt, right?
No. He played. He played his most snaps last year.
Yeah, he definitely did. He came into his own last year. I watched quite a few of their games. So, yeah, definitely 100%. It would be an improvement. I honestly think that Nate Hobbs is on the Julian Love track, anyways.
Okay.
Because Julian Love was drafted to be a corner for the Giants, and it was like over time before they like finally like he became the strong safety, and it was like, oh, okay, that's where he should have been all along, right?
Yeah.
So I think Nate Hobbs, like when it's all said and done, where we'll look back and we'll be like, oh yeah, he should have been a safety the entire time, right? Like can Nate Hobbs really cover man to man? Have we seen him being successful doing that against anyone? Right? He's a zone corner who tackles guys lights out. Okay, like he's a safety. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's not smart for Nate Hobbs to try to hit the market as a safety or try to play position or ever admit publicly that he's like willing to play safety, because we just talked about the difference in money, that like it's literally like play the same sport. If you're a safety, you get paid $6 million. If you're a corner, you get paid $12 million. Like you get paid twice as much to play just because you have because you're playing a different position, right? Yeah. So it doesn't make sense for Nate Hobbs to ever admit this, but I think that they are going to move him more and more to the inside. But we'll see.
It's so funny just looking at this like because Byron Murphy's contract is $12 million, and Julian Love's is $8 million, and they're the same age, but Julian Love's a safety now. It's so there's that value.
Yeah.
And Byron Murphy's just as good as Julian Love's just as good as Byron Murphy. But Byron
better.
Yeah. He's gonna get $12 million. Byron Murphy's supposed to get $12 million.
Wow. So safeties. Buy them. Why not? They're cheap.
Yeah. Free agency is a place where you can find a good safety because I mean, just looking at even I don't know if you ever watched Taylor Rapp, but Taylor Rapp's on here too. Juan Thornhill.
I was high on Taylor Rapp. I was very high on Taylor Rapp coming out of school, but he never played up to where I thought he was going to play. I'm very high on Juan Thornhill. He got even like a lot better as a pro, but I'd be shocked if KC lets him leave. I'd be really surprised about that if they let him go.
Yeah.
And and if he does, please, Raiders need to get in on that fantastic player.
Yeah, I mean, you literally probably could have did a whole section on free agent safeties, to be honest. Just now that I look at this list, this is just like the NFL hates safeties, man. God damn, they hate
Hate him.
safeties.
Hate him.
God, wow. And, and especially, there's probably gonna be a big run on safeties too in the free agency, in my opinion. And why I think the Raiders are gonna get a safety is because the safety class is pretty,
Pretty bad.
yeah, subpar. Let's say that.
Yeah, subpar.
Subpar.
Not any good.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. All right. Any other thoughts on the defensive side of the ball before we go over to the offensive?
No, but it's gonna be interesting to see what they do on defense because, like I said, I think they can get some good safeties that can move around and do some things for cheap. But I just don't think they're gonna go be big spending. So that's why I tried to bargain shop a little bit too. I did some bargain shopping a little bit. I mean, all three of my guys add up to $10 million. So, but I think they all can be starters, and
all right,
and then which will save cap because what I think the Raiders are doing, if I try to hop into Dave Ziegler's brain, I think that they're going to be cheap this year. They're going to try to draft as many players as they can. And then next year, then they want to have cap space for next year. So if those young guys develop, whatever holes they still have, they could spend really high on those and then they could have a really good team in 2024. That's what I think their vision is. I don't know if Josh McDaniels is going to survive that. But I don't know if Josh.
I don't know if I'm gonna survive that. Okay,
I'm prepared for it. I'm ready. I've settled down. I'm ready.
Come on, man.
I'm ready for some young players. So some young optimism. That's what I'm ready for.
We in that 3-year plan is what you're saying.
Yeah, we this year's film is gonna be young optimism. It's gonna be the theme. BD 2024 is what we're looking at. That's how I'm seeing this year. If they win, they win. But I'm not expecting it. So, and if I fans should always expect it. You should expect winning. Do not do what I do. I'm an analyst on this. You should expect winning. But I'm just saying, like their cap. They have the 47. They have 43 million because they got to get a quarterback. So quarterbacks will take some of that. So they get to be cheap, and then they're gonna try to build for 2024 and then go and try to go big. It's just is Josh McDaniels going to survive that?
Yeah, exactly.
They should have did that last year. You know what I mean? Great plan. I mean, I would have been happy for that. You kind of deconstruct those guys last year a little bit. You had the first and second round picks. You draft a couple guys, and then 2023, let's go. But now we got to wait and hope. That's what I'm saying. They're in a bad position. That's why I think they're going to sign Jimmy G because they got to at least get to 7 wins.
Right.
Because I don't know if he survives under 7, but the question is, does Ziegler survive?
They better both go out together. I completely agree.
You don't want Brian Flores, bro? You don't want Brian Flores to be the coach?
When you put it like that.
Just saying, man. Just saying. All right. Let's get to this offense.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Let's see my screen here.
You're killing me with this talk of 3 years. 3 years late, huh?
I just I can just tell by the way they're talking. That's what's happening. I can just tell. All right, so starting off with my boy Will Hernandez, which I really loved at a UTEP. I was a really high Will Hernandez guy. The inside the pylon draft guide, big Will Hernandez guy, and he had a really good season last year. So he look at the stat here, 27. He's 27 and a half, right? So he's gonna be 28, but he had 3% pressure rate all year last year, 13th among guards for the PFF. So he has some great pass blocking skills, right? I think versus the run, he's a little bit play strength right there. You kind of see him just get tossed. Of course, I started off with him getting tossed after hyping him up, but that's kind of like where his issue is a little bit, which I thought was weird because coming out, he was kind of a dog, but against the run, he could be a little bit iffy. But pass pro, it just becomes totally different, which is interesting. So you see here, this look at him build that house, get a good anchor, gets his feet back in the ground, still creates a pretty good pocket for Kyler Murray to throw an interception. So you watch it one more time. Right there. Gets his feet in the ground. But, you still get that pick going. Pick 6. I feel like this became like a Kyler Murray slander show.
But you would always include a Kyler Murray low light. You would always.
All right. See, here's what we're tied here. It's like hands inside, always has a good base, good form, and he just anchors so well. Like you cannot bull rush him inside. Like his feet in the ground, he's bouncing. Great anchor with Will Hernandez. So I mean, he is $4 million. That's his projection. This is a $4 million guard. 28 years old. Power system. I mean, the Cardinals run power. The Raiders run power. That's why he's a fit. See him here. This is him picking up a stunt right here, which is this is what we like to see, which we don't see from the Raiders at all. It's them picking up stunts. And here's Will Hernandez picking it up perfectly, allowing the quarterback to get the ball out real quick. All right, another one. Just him in the run game. This is where you see some push here. This is talking about the kind of the power run game, right? Getting those down blocks. Great down block right there. Allows the running back to get those yards. So this is a lot to like on his tape. I really thought he had some really good tape, especially in pass pro. $4 million. All right, another one right here.
It's pretty clean.
Right, like this him handling the spin move. Quentin Jefferson comes right back around. Nope, where you going, Quentin? Nowhere. And then he's like his hands back inside, right? Gets his hands back inside there. Just clean. And then some more Kyler Murray slander. All right. All right.
Nice.
Right, and then you see him out in space too, because he can get out in space in a screen. Get a good block right there on the screen. He's just clean. That's what I like about him.
I like him. I like him.
Yeah,
I think I'm aware of some of the play strength issue stuff. That talk. I think that's popped
you see
up.
It here. You can see it here because he's just getting tossed right there, kind of. Right? It doesn't look good. That guy's able to make a play. He's able to supposed to get a combo block there, and it's just doesn't look good. And that's his main issue is playing the run, which is super interesting for how big he is. So, but I mean, let's keep real. It is a passing league, and when you got to pass, you got to have. I think you could scheme around some of this stuff a little bit,
right? Because this is just going to happen on like a third of the runs, a quarter of the runs. He's going to be solid on the other ones,
Exactly. All right, so one of my favorite guys. This guy's really cheap too. He's supposed to be $5 million. This is Darius Slayton. He is 26 years old, and he had 700 yards last year in a running offense. And his targets were down, but he still had 700 yards, average 15 yards per catch. And what I like about Darius Slayton too is that he comes from Brian DeBall, who comes from the Patriots. So they run the same offense. He is a plug and play. Darius Slayton is 26 years old. He's going to be 26 years old when the season starts. Plug and play, 724 yards. And he can just run these over routes. The Raiders run all the time. The Raiders run these over routes, this crosser with the post. They run this all the time. There's Darius Slayton running with separation. Great throw from Daniel Jones on the money. Then you can see him here in the slot. This is the Raiders run this one. This is the levels concept that they run all the time. All right. And you see that? See the in route up here too as well. You see this all the time. You watch the Carfax and all this stuff. You talk about, these concepts right there. Daniel Jones just throws it way behind him, but that's fine. But you see the separation that he gets, right? Like I feel like this is a steal. If the Raiders can get him at $5 million, it's a steal. Because he's a lot of speed. I think he has a little bit of hands issues. That's kind of his biggest issue is his hands. But we're not expecting him to get 800 targets. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like Nelson Aguilar kind of fits like this route right here at the bottom. I really love this route because the Nelson Aguilar role. Why pay Nelson Aguilar when he's 30 when you can pay Nelson Aguilar when he's 26? Play action. Look at that. On Eric Stokes, a good corner. Great route right there. He's just getting open all day. And then he can create after the catch as well. Here on the whip route. I got the spotlight on too long, but that's fine. We're good, guys. Got the whip route right there. And then here he just creates yak, just speed. He's still 26 years old. He's still young. He's a young guy. And, of course, let's just give you one more over route. It's over routes all day. Play action, over routes, especially if you have like a rookie quarterback. That is money. Friendly for a rookie quarterback. And I think Darius Slayton is a guy that could do that. Now, I went my old man here, Kelvin Beachum, 34 years old. I think the Raiders can get him for cheap, and I think he could be the starting right tackle because I think he's just clean. He has 10 years in a row of, we talk about PFF grades, but having 10 years in a row of over 70, I think that means something of kind of consistency. And you can just see it. He's just consistent. Here he is on a run block. They're doing run and counter. Like I talk about these Cardinals guys that run powers. That's why they're good fits. This is a power run team. They're doing QB counter here. The Raiders draft Anthony Richardson. Here we go. This is what you like. QB counter. See him getting that push on Quentin Jefferson. Push him out of the way. Gets a big run. Kyler Murray. So we got some Kyler Murray positivity on the show here. All right. And then here he gets against Brian Burns. And, he's just technically sound. It's like teach tape. All right. You see him right here. Perfect hand placement, hand timing, and then you can't push him. Then he builds that anchor with that house. Brian Burns allows Kyler Murray get that pass off. It's just a solid play. You know what you're getting from Kelvin Beachum. You sign Kelvin Beachum, you're getting a solid right tackle. It is like definite, right? There's another anchor too. You see these guys trying to get the push, but he's not getting that bull rush. He's not causing anything for Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's able to get that ball out real quick. And it's not sexy. I'm not saying it's sexy, guys, but it's good.
Right.
And that's what you want in free agency too. Like this type of guy who allows you to draft somebody if you want to. Because he's 34, it's only gonna be like a 1-year contract. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be anything crazy. 1 year, $5 million for Kelvin Beachum to come and make these power blocks like this one, get up to the second level, get this guy, allow the running back to squeeze in that hole, and get 8 yards. All right. And then, of course, I already kind of showed this play with Will Hernandez, but I'll show Beachum on this one. See, this is another one. The guy tries to do a speed rush, just pushes him around, does a good job of kind of, bending him around the corner himself so the quarterback can step up. And, we won't slander Kyler Murray again. We'll fast forward, Kyler. Sorry. But, Kelvin Beachum does have a problem with the speed rush. Just him being 34, I think a great speed rusher is just going to get past him. And I think that's kind of his main issue that I saw on tape is that he struggles with speed rushers. But other than that, he's clean, man. And, I know my side was kind of boring there, guys, but, I think to be honest, I think if they sign those 2 linemen, I think that I feel pretty damn good about the offensive line. And any quarterback they draft would have at least a good foundation. And then with those guys, since they're a little bit older and a little bit more veterans, you don't got to give them big contracts. You can still draft the replacements, and the replacements can develop behind them. I think those guys are really good building blocks that could be cheap and help the Raiders right away. And Darius Slayton, I want the Raiders to get Darius Slayton. I feel like that's a must. I think they
Yeah.
got to do that. They can't mess around with that. He's cheap. He's cheap. He fits the system. He knows the language. You got to go get that.
Darius Slayton is a crowd favorite of New York Giants fans. I live out here in Giants territory, so I already know that he's their dog. Like that's like he's the only guy, like in their bad stretches, he'll be the only guy making plays.
Mm-hmm.
So they all know and respect him. And I think maybe some fantasy. He might be getting some fantasy circles or something like that. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
he didn't score enough touchdowns. He hasn't been scoring touchdowns lately.
Okay. But yeah. Anyways, Darius Slayton for sure. He would be definitely that's big. That'd be big, huge get for the
Yeah.
Raiders. But yeah, all the critiques that you had on him, as far as like his hands, definitely that's there. He'll clang some, but you just give him more volume and he's bound to take something off, right?
Yeah, because I mean, all you need is the 46 catches and 700 yards. I mean, that's all you
Right.
need from him, to be honest. I don't need 1,200 yards from Darius Slayton. I mean, they got Darren Waller, they got Devontae Adams. I don't need 1,200 yards. I need that 741 though, from 46 catches, him catching those crossers. And I think like a rookie quarterback, play action, he get those crossers with him. I think it could work out. And I also, they could switch him and Adams too. Then he could run the post route sometimes, and Adams can run the crossers. And I
Right.
think you could get more creative with Darius Slayton. Because you can't really run the crossers with Matt Collins. And have Matt Collins, you can't really. I mean, he's not really separating from somebody like that. Like
No.
he can separate kind of on the post routes, but not like on a over route for some reason. He's not the over route type of guy. So I think you got Darius Slayton. You could switch in him and Adams, and I think that would really, really help this offense. And the main thing to me is that he knows the language, man. It's not going to be foreign to him.
Yeah.
Like,
I
oh, I
like
know what
that.
that is.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I like it. I like that. I mean, it definitely. I agree with what you're saying. Presenting Darius Slayton in the lineup next to um, Adams, next to Hollins, presents a different kind of matchup. Yeah, I mean, I think from all the guys that you said, I'd be most excited about Slayton. But obviously, I understand the need for offensive line. What do you think about signing two guys from the same team? What do you think? Is that possible? Has that ever happened?
So little tidbit. I heard they like Kelvin Beachum. That's why I kind of covered him because I heard they
Okay.
might sign him actually for real, for real. So I heard they really like him. They might sign him for real. So that's why I did him. But I do believe that he could be a starting right tackle, and not even have to be like a service guy. And I think he would do really well. I think he just kind of not, you wouldn't even really notice unless it's a speed rusher, right? And
Yeah.
so I mean, he's just solid veteran. That's like the vet. 1 year, $5 million. He just wants to play football. Just likes playing right tackle in the NFL. He's not gonna make the Pro Bowl or anything like that, but he's gonna be solid. He's gonna
Is he going to start the entire year? Or is he going to get hurt?
he start the entire year.
Start the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Be
probably
a
going to hold
solid.
out for something long term.
I mean, you think so? He's 34 though.
I mean, come on. You're going to keep on playing for one-year deals at this age? It's crazy.
He signed a 2-year deal last time with the
2 year.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what he does. But I liked Will Hernandez too. Though. I thought Will Hernandez would be really clean and kind of help the offensive line as well too. But those guys they're both power scheme guys too. So that's just kind of why I went with that.
Nice. Well, I mean, great job. You did much more professional than mine was. So
Okay.
I got to get on your level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but yeah, it's, because I think they have to add a wide receiver. I think they might add another tight end. I don't know who they're gonna do. They just side Horsted. I really hope they draft a tight end. It's one of those things. If they draft Sam Laporta at 38, I won't be mad at it. I'll understand. So, because I think they should draft one of these tight ends that are out here. I think they can get a good damn tight end in the 4th round. Because I don't know how high the league is on Sam Laporta. He's like up and down on Dan Jeremiah. He might be like there at 70. So, I think they got to draft one of those guys. And I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how they're going to draft one of these guys that need them to draft. But they're going to have to figure that out. It's going to be interesting, man. But free agency is probably mostly defense, I think.
Well, I mean, they need it. They need it, like you're saying, before the show started. They're down to, what, is it under 50 guys that are rostered for next year?
Yeah.
So that's a big problem. They got to figure that one out. So we're going to see what they do in free agency. They need help on a lot of fronts. But, just looking at free agency, looking at the linebackers available, it would be really lower tier, lesser name guys taking, probably 1 year deal, something like that you would see in this time period. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're going to see too much more than that.
I agree, man. I doubt it. I don't think we're going to see that, like, kind of a big type of thing right now. But, yeah, because the main thing, they got to pay a quarterback. And, like, even if they pay Jacoby Brissett, unless they pay Jarrett Stidham and give him serious backup money, which, maybe Jarrett Stidham's like, you got to pay me Mr. Trubisky money. Give me that $15 million 1 year, 2 years, $15 million or something. That's still a lot of the cap. They got to pay a quarterback. They have to find somebody to come play quarterback. And they bring in Jacoby Brissett, he's going to be like 18 to 20. Right? Because I think he played his way up into the 15s and the 18s, right? So that's gonna take up some of the cap space right away.
Right.
Before we end this, I think what could save them cap space is giving Jacobs the extension since we franchise tagged him. That would give them more cap space if they gave Jacobs the extension that he's looking for. Would free them up, but it also tie them to Josh Jacobs long term. So that's their problem. But if you're going to give him $11 million against the cap, I mean, why don't you just, make it like $7 million against the cap with some signing bonus and stuff like that?
Just do it. Just do it.
I don't. Like the franchise when they franchise tag it, I'm like, so you're going to pay him 11. You're going to give him 11 million, but you won't give him 14. It's just like give him $3 more million, and then give him some guaranteed money and pay him some cash, and then we have it's like a cap hit, and then next year I don't know. What do I know?
Wow.
What do I know? So we'll end it that way. We're out of here. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Free agency starts. Of course, we got the draft stuff. Support the cornerback stuff. The cornerback stuff is too low. Please go watch the cornerback stuff that we did. Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez. They're way too low right now. And we need corners. So they might draft one, and they're going to go back to it later in June after we draft one. You can watch it right now. So go ahead and check that out. I got Will Levis up. He's throwing a lot of digs and off play action. So check that out. A lot of digs. He's hitting those over routes on film that we just saw Darius Slayton run. So check that out, Will Levis. And of course, we got the last show he did on the combine. Go ahead, check that out too. You get all the draft stuff. Draft stuff lasts longer. Doesn't matter. So it's not like week to week. Can't go watch the week 4. It's draft stuff. It's the draft. Everything's great. Watch it whenever. Right.
Watch whatever.
All right. So, any last words, BD?
That's it for me. Watch it, Ray.
All right. Peace.